Hi
Hi
everyone.
everyone, good day. Our topic today is the worldview of integration of faith and learning in educational institutions. And the discussants are Nerissa C. Fogoso.
And Ella L. Fogoso. So now let's just have our world view. So definition. Worldview, as we have seen here in the screen, it is a personal theory of everything. It is a set of beliefs and values that help each of us make sense of the world or bring coherence to our experience. So, one way to understand the idea of worldview is that it is a unifying way of looking at all life, and it is a means of bringing coherent meaning to one's experiences, thoughts, feelings, and so on. So, as we have seen so far, it includes values, beliefs, commitments, attitudes, sometimes biases, and prejudices. So, it is one's epistemology or theory of knowledge. It's also include or part of one's worldview. So, in political orientation, also social views, faith, morality, and so on. So, to offer a metaphor for a moment, we might say that a worldview provides the loom of wavering the tapestry of understanding out of the strings of experiences. So, in the worldviews of IFL, integration of faith and learning, there are worldviews in postmodernism, first, and second, philosophical naturalism or materialism, and the third is Christian worldview. So now let's just have our postmodernism. So it describes that the school of thought arising mainly from oppositional and radical movements in contemporary society. So the advent of the Industrial Revolution brought about major societal changes as well as several societal inequalities that were previously unheard of. So, although the advances in science and technology continue to shape the world as we know it, the accompanying social changes in power and class structure tend to persist in similar form as well. So, in postmodernism, the idea of God, like all reality, is a linguistic construct without any reference to an objective existence, and God and religion have been created as tools of oppression by the powerful. So, as philosopher Michael Peterson says, it is obvious to postmodernists that genuine knowledge of God is impossible because also post knowledge is embedded in language, and all language is embedded in culture, and cultures differ. So the educators believe that there is no absolute or universal truth, arguing that truth changes with the advent of new events and discoveries. So this means that scientific events that took place historically on one side of the world have influenced political and social events that are now taking place or another. So educators also embraces and encourage individual expression, going further to encourage cross-cultural dialogue and debates as a necessary factor in the educational process. So, an important point raised by the postmodernists is that political factors and themes such as power and social inequality must be addressed if a teacher is to provide holistic education. So, these themes are as relevant to science and mathematics as they are social sciences. So they are rejecting the idea that subjects should be rigidly compartmentalized. Next is the philosophical naturalism or materialism. So it is the philosophy or metaphysical position that everything knowable derives from an observation and interpretation of the natural world. So in order to maintain this monopoly, scientists must reject religious truth, see, and label naturalism as science and theism as religion. So they believe that God does not exist, or it does not really matter whether or not He exists, or else the question of God's existence is meaningless or unintelligible. So the question of God and the supernatural is irrelevant to the living and learning of human beings, since the only truth is scientific truth, and there's no truth in any statement about God. Since God does not exist, religion itself of any kind is suspect, delusive, and possible harmful. So, under this model of reality, only science knowledge, only empirically observable information is true. So, other knowledge, such as religious principles, moral concepts like good and evil, aesthetic ideas like beauty, and ethical concepts like justice and mercy, none of this knowledge is true in any real sense, but is all merely subjective belief or socially constructed preferences. So, so under this philosophical naturalism, all explanations for the world must be materialistic ones, and there can be no soul, only the electrochemical functions of a brain. So, a goal is to keep the religious from regaining any of the power and influence they used to have in the academic and especially in the scientific world. So that's it in philosophical naturalism or materialism. So in secular education, values education was introduced as a separate subject, and in the religion, the public schools, the Bible, they just say it as a it's just a literature. So that's it in secular education. Now let's have Ma'am Neri to discuss the Christian worldview.
Okay, thank you so much. We will now go to the Christian worldview.
Na. God bless.
Okay, to continue, we have here the Christian worldview. The Christian worldview believes that there is a creator who reveals himself to us through the natural world and through the Bible. Of course, Christianity believes that God is infinite, personal being who has created the universe and mankind and has revealed himself to us. The Lord gives us meaning. It gives meaning to human life and action and unifies the entrance of creation. And He reveals Himself to us through the natural world and through the Bible. The existence of God gives purpose and direction to life and provides an objective foundation for knowledge and values. Next slide, please. Okay, so we can see here that there are five elements that comprises the Christian worldview. We know that we can see it from the Bible, our knowledge of God, our purposes in life, guidance in daily living choices, and gospel of crystal these elements of our worldview from the word we have been given, and that is the Bible. Next is history. What about history? Our faith has historical dimensions because God has interacted with his people in time and throughout eternity. So, the history of the past, of what is happening right now, and what will happen is actually stated in the Bible. So, we see that the Christian worldview also um, supports, yeah, and it actually gives us history. The next is philosophy and reason. Philosophy and reason helps us extend scriptural truth to the general realms of knowledge, to specific problems, and to thinking about knowledge and reality. So, the philosophies that we have are also related and could be found in the Bible or in the Christian worldview. And of course, experience. Our personal experience with God, with other people in Christian community, with those in the world at large, and all of our activities have an impact on how we build our world view. So that is the experience. Another one, of course, learning. The last one is learning. What we hear, we read, we think about, all the knowledge we gain, like learning about quarks, for example, helps us develop a more circumspect and coherent worldview and honor our Creator, like He is a God of everything. So that is our worldview. Next slide, please. That's the Christian worldview. We have here different colleges and how they were able to integrate faith and learning. For instance, the Wheaton College in Principal, they have Christian perspective, all transforming, and it is this which gives rise to the idea of integrating faith with learning. So the principle here is integrating faith with learning. The next one, please. In Biola University, integration of faith and learning means taking things associated with the Christian faith and integrate it into all the rest of Christian life. So it's like the Christian faith, they will try to integrate that. I mean, they will try to put that in their subjects, and then as much as they could, they want to integrate it in order for the pupils to have it for the rest of their Christian life. So that's what we call theological integration. Next slide. We also have Laterno University. It is built upon a foundation of biblical authority, which seeks to glorify God by integrating faith, learning, and living. So as you can see, it's like they are interrelated with each other. They are trying to really integrate faith and have it in their lives, like apply it in their lives. So in this university, we know that they also make the Bible as their foundation. Okay, next. What about in Catholic colleges and universities? In Catholic colleges and universities, we have here values infusion, or the so-called also educational community opportunity for stewardships, or the so-called echoes. In the values infusion, I remember when I was in elementary, we have catechist classes wherein a layman, a layman from the Catholic Church will actually go to our classroom, and he will be teaching us the Bible, and of course the values that he would always ask us, what are the values that you have learned from the stories, from the Bible stories that he has shared to us. So that's what we call like values infusion. But that is just a subject, like the Bible as a subject. And uh, even in Catholic colleges, when you enter Catholic colleges and universities, you will also be having subjects that will actually help you or teach you to know about the doctrines of the Roman Catholic Church. So again, in the Catholic colleges and universities, they use values infusion. Next. And what about the Adventist International Education System? What about the Adventist education? So, according to Frank Gabelin, the earliest proponent figure of the integration of faith and learning, before it was just integration of faith and learning, but because of him, he is a proponent of the integration of faith and values learning. Um, the Adventist education also acknowledges that the Bible is the sure foundation of all education and in all subjects. So, in every subject of the Adventist education, the integration of faith and values learning is actually done. Like it could be observed because as much as we could, all the knowledge, all the subjects are actually connected. Yeah, they are actually connected to the Bible. So the Adventist education really uses the Bible as the source of of everything. That's why in all the subjects we can see that faith and learning is the total goal. And what about values? Of course, you know, it's not only about theory. It's not only about the knowledge of the Bible, but as much as the education, Adventist education, is concerned, the Adventist education would like to have the pupils to have an experiential relationship with God. So it's like every pupil, they would have them as much as they could, that they can know and experience God themselves, that God exists. So that is how the Adventist International Education System uses the Bible as their ultimate source of the knowledge that they are partaking to the pupils. So next slide, please. This is the last slide. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. For more queries, you can contact us through
Thank you.
our Gmails. And by
Email.
the way, to sum it up, so we have three. We have the postmodernism, we have the naturalism, and
Listen.
we have the Christian worldview. Thank you so
Views.
much for listening, and
Listening.
God bless us.
This, yes, this is our preferences.
Okay. Thank you.